and I really wanted to, while it's on my mind, because I was just chatting to someone about this, and I just feel like the issue with Oregon is it's not like I have an axe to grind with the state, but there are some issues here with the state where they have everyone pump the gas, uh, which is not something that I think is necessary. Everywhere else in the country, we don't need to do that. I actually get a lot of interactions when people do pump the gas here in Oregon that I think are, basically abrasive, and I think that people shouldn't be pumping the gas. And people who are, and there is no recourse for someone who's going to a gas pump, and not all the time, but a lot of times where there's no recourse for someone going to the gas pump, where they're basically dealing with someone who's like a street person who's just making no effort to do their job right, and and you just being rude to someone who's just trying to get gas. And I don't think it's necessary to have them there. But I think, if they were there, I think they ought to have a uniform, and they ought to have some professionalism and some standards. So there's that issue. But the other issue with Oregon, the state of Oregon, is the fact that they don't have they have this law where the people of the state, the residents, have to have uninsured motorists if they're a resident of Oregon. Now, everyone in the United States travels to Oregon or through Oregon. They don't have to have that. So for Oregon lawmakers, Oregon city or county government, and Oregon city or county or statewide law enforcement to, not enforce laws like driving uninsured for this person who hit me, and not to enforce laws like failing to perform duties of driver after accident, fleeing the scene, which is what she did. And then she did come back an hour later, I admit that, but she came back with incomplete and fraudulent information, and the officer who responded took an hour plus to get there, and he refused to verify her insurance. He refused to check the fact that she was drinking and had make any effort to do anything about that. He wanted to laugh at it with her, and so you're left with Oregon wants to be different. You know what I mean? Oregon wants to be different and unique, and but they're doing things un-American, because in America you don't have to have uninsured motorists. So I'm driving insured, and I get hit by this person who's drunking in a car that doesn't belong to her and is uninsured, and who flees the scene, and the local law enforcement say, well, or say, well, you should have uninsured motorists. That's Oregon's perspective is, well, you should have uninsured motorists. Well, no, guys, you have to enforce the laws as they are written. Now, the laws don't say I have to have uninsured motorists because I don't live in Oregon. The laws do say she has to be insured. The laws do say she can't leave the scene or get in her car and drive away. And the laws do say she has to give me the correct information at the scene. She can't leave the scene and come back with an outdated fake insurance card and fake it between me and the cop. And the laws also say when an American citizen dials 911, he doesn't need to wait an hour for a cop to come up there and not perform the duties of a police officer. And that's what Tyler Alexander did that night. He didn't do it right. So, the Clackamas County, in the state of Oregon, they're liable for these situations. And these situations are preventable. And the breaking of the law was this citizen and this resident who is dangerous and will continue to be dangerous, Jennifer Diane McClure, resident of Clackamas County. And the pattern of behavior that positioned her to do what she did is a pattern of behavior that the state of Oregon, through their laws of, expecting everyone to have uninsured motorists, even if they don't reside in Oregon, and then having their police officers not do anything about it, when someone is hit by someone. It's almost like Oregon thinks people can drive around uninsured, and they also, so it gets into this whole thing. There's when I drive up here from California or just from anywhere in the U.S., when I come to Oregon, my impression is it is such a beautiful place. You know what I mean? The ocean, the mountains, and the college towns, and I don't want to lose sight of that with my criticisms. But the way the politics are here, and I admire the progressive efforts, with the clean energy. I love going through Portland and seeing a fleet of Prius cars. I also love going through, by Sisters and just the rural places and seeing the trucks and, seeing the remnants of an agricultural industry, the people who hunt and, people at the gyms. Oregon is a beautiful place, and I'm not critical of Oregon. I think there are lots and lots of great people in Oregon who abide by the law, etc. Now, my issue is, though, there is also, I feel like when I come up, there's almost like a subclass of people who don't care. And they've been taught by the system, that whether it's the police, their parents, and they've almost just been abandoned, and they're just working class kids, and they're just like, it's the kids who work at Dutch Brothers sometimes, and I'm not generalizing there, but, it's just like there isn't the effort for cleanliness. These kids are, maybe they were kicked out of the gym, they were kicked out of whatever it is, and there's a lot of them. And I don't, you go through, uh, you don't get that in other states. You don't get that in front. Come up through Oregon, I always get that, and it's like, what could you do to fix that? Why can't the state of Oregon and the city and the county government and law enforcement and all these people, why don't you start caring about these kids? Why are you just abandoning this Jennifer McClure up there? She broke the law. Someone needs to care enough. That police officer and that county commissioners, you need to care enough about that kid and about this community to do something when they're being reckless, when they are exposing themselves on that bridge. You need to care enough about the situation when, Charlie's Mountain View is doing sex show parties up there and closing the doors and beers flowing and people are going out of the doors and operating motor vehicles under the influence of alcohol and getting in accidents time and time again. You need to care enough about the community, and not just the community, but a country, the United States, because lots of people come up from other places to visit the wild lands and the beauty of the nature that is up there by Mount Hood, up there by Government Camp, and up there, in Clackamas County, in the state of Oregon, not just in that area, other areas too. So I think the state of Oregon and the county commissioner's office and these people, they need to rise to the challenge to start caring and stop abandoning these kids, and stop abandoning these principles, and these laws that are American laws, leaving the scene of an accident. And, they need to do the job that they're paid to do. And that's really the hard truth, is that, we just did the whole thing where we're trying to kind of, the commissioners, but, the commissioner, whatever his name is, Jim Bernard, he shouldn't be checking out and saying, well, I don't want to be involved. It's sort of like me. I'm in this thing here. No one wants to get involved. Well, motherfuckers, you're getting paid. Here it is. You're getting paid to be involved. That's your position. If you're a cop and someone dials 911, you're paid to respond and do the duties of a cop. If you don't want to do it, don't be a cop. And now if you're the commissioner or the commissioner's office and there's not a single goddamn person in there who gives a shit about the fact that our law enforcement agency, Clackamas County Sheriff's Department, is simply doing things wrong and criminal time and time again, and negligent time and time again, and un-American time and time again, and they don't give a shit enough to fucking do anything about it, to change their staff, to change their hiring process, and to change their training processes, and to have that, and to begin to care, and to begin to have that accountability, and to try to improve things with communication, with leadership, with better processes and better systems around those processes, and trying to mimic some of the stuff that works in other communities and other places. If there's this attitude of this working class, I don't care, abandoning these kids, I don't care, oh, that's not a big deal. Well, the laws say it is. If it's damage to someone's property, the laws say it is a big deal. And the laws say you can't go into the courthouse and do a nude calendar photo shoot. The laws say that's indecent exposure. And, the laws certainly say you shouldn't be doing any sort of cell phone photos of anyone in a jail cell, whether they're dying or whether they're not dying. And that's one of the big problems with Clackamas County, is you get the impression that there's a pattern with those police officers employed by this county of doing cell phone photos and videos of people in jail cells. Forget about the Purple Heart Soldier, the incredible tragedy there. I'm sure these guys are doing it hundreds of other instances, and they probably have a little catalog of videos and photos of fucking inmates and stuff like that. These people need to be handcuffed, and they need to be put in a federal prison. These employees of Clackamas County, right from Craig Roberts down to the guy who mops the floor at Sunnybrook Road, each and every one of them must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for their complicit and criminal behavior that is un-American and contrary to not only the spirit of our country, but the spirit of all countries, you know what I mean? And the spirit and the values of not just the community of, Mount Hood and Government Camp, not just the county of Sunnybrook, whatever this is, Clackamas County. We're talking about everywhere. They are simply acting inhuman and disrespectful. And that's what it gets into. These people don't have respect. They don't have values. They don't have courage. They simply don't care. And they need to care. If they don't care, they need to go to jail. Because the laws say they have to care, and they're getting paid to care.